Okay, so it was the last weekend of summer before my senior year, and you all want to do something fun, right? Like, you're not just going to sit at home the last weekend of summer before you go back to school. Disneyland's not all that great, but I was getting in for free, so of course I was going to go. I decided to go with my friends Johnny and Izzy, and Johnny comes to pick me up, and he gets to my house, walks to my door, says hi to my parents, everything. I live on a hill, so we're walking back down to the car, and he throws me his keys, and he was like, you want to drive? And I was like, of course I do. He doesn't have just a regular car. He has a 340i, BMW, M Sport, brand new, wrapped, tuned, sounds so nice. And I was like, of course, I'll drive your car. So we go pick up Izzy. We go to Disneyland. Or before we get into the park, we're between both parks, and Izzy was like, well, what park do you go in? And I was like, that's up to you guys. I go here all the time. So he was like, let's go to Disneyland, and of course, I should have chose because I was like, why are we going into Disneyland? It's for 5-year-olds. Let's go to California Adventure. I took them on, at this time it was California Screaming first, and it is Incredicoaster now, but it's the one fun ride in there, or to me at least. So I took them on there and forgetting that Johnny hates roller coasters. And after that, we had to sit down for 30 minutes because he's a little bitch. So we literally had to sit there for 30 minutes, and I was like, can we go now? We don't have all day. So we go on a couple more rides, and then I was like, it's hot as fuck. I don't want to stay here all day. It's miserable being at Disneyland when it's hot. So I was like, can we leave and come back later in the night? And they were like, of course, because they always listen to me. So I was like, why are we going to take Johnny's car? Can we just get picked up by someone? So Izzy's mom comes and picks us up, and then we get in the car, and they're like, what are you hungry for? And I was like, I want rice and beans. And they're both Hispanic, and they're looking at me and laughing this white girl wants rice and beans. Are you kidding me? So we go to Northgate, and we get food, go back to Izzy's house. His mom makes us food. And after that, I was like, of course, food coma, we're going to take a nap. So we fell asleep. We wake back up, and I was like, okay, you want to go back to Disneyland? We go back to Disneyland. Izzy's mom drops us off. We're there for an hour or two, maybe. We go on a couple more rides. We were going California Adventure, so we were done with both parks by then. And now it's 8 o'clock, and we were on the water ride, so I was soaking wet, and I was like, I want to go home. And I felt bad because they never go, but I was like, I'm tired, I want to go home, but I don't want to go home because I still want to hang out with them. So I had the bright idea of getting a hotel. I was like, I could get us a hotel, we don't need to pay for it or anything. My mom travels every week for work, so I'm going to use her points, right? We get it for free. Who wants to pay? So I call the hotel, and I'm like, hi, it's Teresa Parrott. My daughter's going to be checking in for me. Is that okay? I'm going to use my reward points, and she'll bring my card and put the hotel room on hold. So it worked, and they were like, okay, we have your name down. So we go to the hotel, we check in, I was like, wow, that actually worked. I lied to my mom and told her that I was staying at my friend's house, that lives near Disneyland, and my parents are crazy and track me. So that was terrible because I turned it off, and I was turning it back on, so I was like, whatever, I'll just leave it on. So if my mom were to look at anything, she would see that I was at a hotel. Anyway, I wasn't really worried about that, and Johnny and Izzy were fine with it. They were like, yeah, my parents are fine with it, so we're all staying at the hotel. And at this point, we were super tired, so we were falling asleep. And then the next thing I hear is Izzy's phone ringing, and I was like, I look over, Johnny's knocked out, and Izzy answers his phone, and I hear him talking. And when he's on the phone, he hangs up, and I was like, what the hell was that? Because he's all worried, and he was like, wake Johnny up, we need to leave. And I was like, okay, why? He was like, don't tell him yet, but his car is reported stolen. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he was like, no, my mom told me the cops are coming to the hotel. And I was like, oh my God. So we grabbed all of our stuff within 2 minutes, and we were so scared to go down the elevator because what if they were coming up and saw us? So we run down the stairs, and we see the cops in the lobby. And so we leave super fast because at this point Izzy needs to be at home because his mom is super pissed off. And then I was like, Johnny, what are you going to do? And he was like, I can't go home. My mom obviously reported my car stolen. And I was like, okay, fine. I'm not just going to leave it on the street, right? So I take him to my grandparents' house because they're gone 6 months out of the year. And we at this point, we're just like sitting there in the house, and I was like not even worried that we're staying there. Like they have cameras and everything. And I was like, fine, like let's just go to sleep. And we woke up in the morning, and Johnny went home. I got into huge trouble with my mom because she saw the transaction on my card that they put on hold. And after that, my mom told me that I couldn't hang out with Johnny for another like forever. And I hung out with him still, and then after like 2 years, I finally told my mom that I was hanging out with him. And me and Johnny are still friends to this day, but Izzy and I aren't, and